This is Karangahape Road, central Auckland. Most people call it K Road. My name is Six. For many years, K Road was my home. I was homeless. Now I publish the K Road Chronicle, a newspaper that gives street people their own voice. I first met Laura back when I was homeless and living on K Road. She has recently been housed herself in Te Ao Mārama, a local hotel that the Auckland City Mission has taken over on Day Street. So I thought Laura would be a good person to talk to for my new venture, the K Road Chronicle podcast. Kia ora. Welcome to this very special episode of the K Road Chronicles podcast with co-host Dan. My very special guest is Laura, who's one of the tenants in the new Day Street development. Welcome to the podcast, Laura. Do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name's Laura. I stay in Day Street. It's pretty good there.
How long have you been there for, Laura?
I've been there for 5 months.
It's quite for me, it was quite overwhelming when I finally got into a place. And I mean, how did you feel when...
I was so wrapped.
Yeah.
Like, I was over the moon, actually. And the first week I was in there, I had all my mokos with me, which I was so happy.
Not everybody was happy about the Day Street initiative. Some local residents put together a campaign to stop the project. The same thing happened in nearby Ponsonby when another Auckland City Mission project was opened. There was some pushback from the local community, was there not?
There was. There was some pushback from the local community.
But it's an important part of the welfare we need to provide our whānau.
Yeah, 100%. We say that it's actually part of the transformation that takes them from... So a lot of the wahine, the raukura that we get into our whare, they're here and they're just needing to be supported. So our role is to hold them, and until they can go through that transformation. It's not a refuge. We're not a refuge. We're not a rehab facility. We're actually just a whare with a kaitiakitanga of hinatori to hold our wahine until they too see the light. So this is where they come to just sit.
Oh, quiet space.
Quiet space.
I don't want to ask you, what does a typical resident look like? But are there things that seem to crop up over and over again?
It would be addictions, whether that be alcohol or substances. Addiction seems to be the one that is the commonality between all of our raukura.
So, as part of the support services, does that include therapy?
Yeah, so we have a psychotherapist who's on site 4 days a week. We have an occupational therapist who's on site 3 days a week. We're fortunate that we are part of the mission because it means that we do have access to the social detox, the medical detox, all of those things that will help our girls. And even if it's just for a phone call, it's it just knowing that they're there is great.
Auckland City Mission not only provides practical support for places like Te Whare Hinātore and Day Street, they also work hard to promote understanding from the wider community. They held open discussion meetings and included local MP Chloe Schwarbrick.
Helen, the City Missioner, was phenomenal. We had this public meeting in the rain with about 150 residents who were all feeling quite upset about the fact that they felt like this was happening in their backyard. But
NIMBYs.
And to a certain extent, you do have to try and empathise with people who do feel upset about the sense that change is happening to them and try and work through where that feeling aggrieved comes from. It's very easy to hold a lot of stigma and a lot of assumptions and therefore potentially quite a lot of fear about people who look and sound different to you. So I think it's just baseline.
It's very easy to just write people off as it's your problem.
100%.
You're a bad person.
100%. It is that empathy thing, and that's where telling stories is so important.
So important.
It's like you want people to understand the resilience of our street whānau and you tell them about the stuff that our street whānau are achieving, and you tell them about some of the hardship that they've been through, and then people will go, oh, well, that one person's an outlier. It's like, well, no, I've got 1,000 other stories exactly like that.
How does that feel after such instability, to have somewhere to call home, to have somewhere you can lay your head?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Because I was out on the streets for a while before I even got this place. So now I've got it, I just love it.
Great. What's your support network like?
My support is the mission.
And how's it working out?
It's really good there. I just found out 2 weeks ago that I might be getting the cleaning job there.
Oh,
so
wow.
Pretty happy.
So what attracted you to K Road? Obviously, apart from me.
Oh, just went up there one day and just liked it.
There's this real sense of whānau on the street, your street whānau.
Oh, I love them. I love all my street whānau.
What about us? I can't see.
We had a wahine and who was part of the service when they were in the previous building, and she wasn't terribly well back then, but she's become more and more unwell. And we've just had news recently that she's now terminal. So the girls who came through, the Raukura that came through the service with her at the time, they're the ones that have been supporting her. And so they brought her up to wahine dinner so that we could all be there. It was just this really beautiful wairua āhua that was happening in the space.
K Road has always been a vibrant mix of residents, businesses and nightlife. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Lovely day. Should we take a seat over here? Getting the balance right is tricky, as Jamie, the CEO of the K Road Business Association, explains. Now, there was a lot of discussion when it was announced that the Auckland City Mission had signed a 9-year lease. Where are we at with that now? Because a lot of people said some pretty offensive things.
I think a lot of the initial concerns about it just came from local residents and businesses not knowing what was going on.
That lack of...
Once they had a chance to connect and talk to each other and see what's going on. Oh, that's positive.
Do you think we have the infrastructure and the facilities required to support a diverse, high-density community?
I mean, Karangahape Road's a bit like this welcoming ecosystem where you've got businesses will know members of the street whānau and they'll kind of adopt each other.
Day Street, right in your precinct. There was a lot of negative Nellies going, oh, this is not going to work. But we've been down there and it looks amazing.
Yeah.
Do you see that as being a model going forward for housing for vulnerable communities?
100%. You're talking about dignity. You're talking about providing people with the wraparound support that they need. So when you provide people with that sense of home and stability and community, of course it turns people's lives around. And that's what we see with Day Street.
Have a lovely day. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. See you soon.
Yeah,
I think the City Mission have done a great job the way they've set things up for Day Street. I feel pretty positive about it. They've got the resources in there to make sure that people that need to be supported are supported, that you've got other people, a good mix of people living in there so that there are people there who are functioning really independently and, you know, be looking for work on K Road or studying or, you know, whatever they're doing.
Eric is another streetie who has recently been housed at Day Street. He has invited us in to see his apartment. Oh, this is nice. Lovely. Was this all here too?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I just moved in here last week.
Nice shower.
Yeah, it is a nice shower.
So tell me about your path to getting to this point. Because you were in emergency accommodation before this, weren't you?
Yeah.
How long were you?
Too much shit on the couch.
That's all right. I've got a homeless man sleeping on my couch, so this is not too bad.
I mean, I wouldn't have got this place without my support worker. She's been really good, yeah.
So what was their role? How did they interact?
She got me, like, accommodation in safe places too, you know, instead of just sticking me anywhere. Yeah.
So this is your first proper place ever, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. It's my own place, you know.
And how do you rate it?
I can't give it a rating, it's too good, to be honest.